Today we're going to be making chocolate spaghetti squash cake. So the first step is to bake our spaghetti squash. Preheat the oven to 400. Okay, so we're going to add a cup of water to the pan. While waiting for the squash to finish baking, I prepared all the ingredients. We have our dry ingredients on the right and our wet ingredients on the left. For a complete list of ingredients, check out the description box below. Now time to check the squash. These squash were in the oven for 30 minutes at 400. So when they're done, they should be soft to the touch. If they're still very firm, then you need to return them to the oven and bake them a little longer. I prefer to bake the spaghetti squash first because these have a very thick skin and are hard to cut when they're raw. So baking them makes it much easier. Now time to scoop the seeds. All the seeds have been removed. For this recipe we'll be needing 4 cups of cooked spaghetti squash, now we're going to cut the spaghetti squash into smaller strands. We're already done with the squash. So the next step is mixing all the dry ingredients together. We're going to start by sifting the flour. I'm going to add the cocoa powder, cinnamon, instant coffee, and the sugar. I also put the baking soda in. Salt. Now we're done sifting the dry ingredients. Now we need to mix all the dry ingredients together. So just take a whisk and slowly mix them until they're all combined. Okay, so all the dry ingredients have been combined. Now time to move on to the wet ingredients. Time to turn your oven back on. Set it to 350. So for our wet ingredients, eggs, melted butter, milk, and a half a teaspoon of almond extract. Now we're going to mix the wet ingredients. Now we're ready to slowly add the dry ingredients. We're going to add a third at a time. Okay, so everything is mixed. We're done mixing. Since this is our Valentine's Day special, we're going to be using the Nordic Ware Tiered Heart Bundt Pan. Now the pan is nice and clean. The baking spray works better because it has flour mixed in. It gives you a thicker layer. You could also use cooking spray, but this will allow the cake to release much easier. Now time to add the batter to the pan. You want to pour slowly and evenly across the pan. After adding half of the batter, we can add our chocolate chips. And we're using the espresso chips. Now we're going to add the rest of the batter. Now we can add the rest of the chips. Now we add the last of the batter. Our cake is ready for the oven, so we're going to bake it at 350 for 50 to 60 minutes. Not yet done. The toothpick should come out clean. If it has chocolate on it, poke it another spot. We're going to add 10 more minutes. Let's check. The toothpick is clean. It's done. Now the cake is cooled. You want to wait at least 2 hours. You could speed it up by putting it in the refrigerator, but you want the cake to be cool before you try to take it out of the pan, otherwise it will break. So now we're just gonna check the weight. So with the pan, the cake weighs 6 pounds, 4.8 ounces. It's a very heavy and moist cake. That's the best part about this recipe. I'm going to make the glaze. So we have 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put it on medium heat. 1 cup of heavy cream. And then we want to heat this to a simmer. Okay, now we're going to add our instant coffee. This will be 1 tablespoon. Okay, so now we're going to remove the cake from the pan. It released perfectly. Okay, so the cream mixture has been brought to a simmer. Now we're going to pour it over the chocolate. This is 6 ounces of chocolate, and you can use chocolate chips. Now it's time to glaze the cake. I like this glaze with the coffee in it because it's not too sweet. We're done glazing, so now we're going to put some cherries on top. Our chocolate spaghetti squash cake with coffee chocolate glaze is complete. Happy Valentine's Day. Please like and subscribe.